Hello everyone and welcome to episode 80 of Competitive Magic with the Karnies. I'm your host from Italy, Andrea Mengucci, and joining me as always, actually I shouldn't say as always because we haven't been together for so long. We have Anthony Lee from Australia.
Oh, hey, wait! Don't you normally do Javier first?
Oh yeah,
And Javier
yeah.
Dominguez from
Hello
Spain.
everyone. I used to be the second, but now I'm third. I don't know what you have done, Anthony. But now
Oh,
you're the second on board.
I
Congratulations.
got mixed one. I got mixed in my
You
head.
oh, a
mix me
mixed
Too
strategy.
with
long.
Anthony. Now I'm new Anthony.
Mixed the order. Speaking of which, I said Anthony Lee from Australia, but you aren't in Australia right now, right?
I'm not. I'm in Madrid right now, just like Javier. Maybe that's how I jumped him on the order.
Oh, that's why. So you came here to overcome my spot.
I suppose so.
That's that's possible. Maybe Anthony is closer to me right now, so that's why I said it first.
That's actually
Um,
probably true. You're in the north, right? So yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's technically true. I'm like a solid 15 minutes closer to Mengu, so there you go.
Yeah, yeah, and soon you'll be even closer because I go to Lisbon for a week of testing with the team. What about you guys? Have you decided where will you be for like in-person testing?
Yeah, we'll be just outside of Amsterdam, in a town which has a name that I'm not entirely confident in being able to pronounce correctly, but it looks like Voorthuizen. I'm not sure, but it looks very nice. It's a lovely little place, not too far out from Amsterdam.
I'm afraid it will be
All
cold. It will be
right.
cold, but other than that, it looks good.
Looks nice. It'll be sunny.
All right, Anthony. So last weekend you were in Dallas to witness the great storm that went on. Did you have
Uh,
any problem? Because I read on Twitter it was a lot of problems.
yeah, so I got there pretty early. So we decided to set up a testing house. I was with Isaac Bullwinkle, Cole Cunningham, Nathan Steuer for to ahead of the RC to test for that. So I went there to hang out and help them with that. But I arrived earlier because the flights from Australia are obviously a little inflexible, and I like to arrive a little early to get over jet lag and whatnot. So when I arrived, it was like the weather was like very warm, very sunny, and then I went to sleep the first night after I arrived and woke up, and then I had like an emergency alert on my phone, and then I went outside and there were like bits of trees around. And I was like, what happened? But yeah, that was apparently the beginning of a very large storm, which kind of derailed everything. Really, it's kind of unfortunate, but yeah, big storm in Dallas.
What about your flight back?
Oh,
Did you
that
have
was
any
fine because
problem?
I left.
Oh,
I only left on Tuesday, so everything was settled down by the time I left. Because I left a little later than most people from the US would have left. Just right after the RC finished, but I had a couple of days afterward. Anyway, so um, yeah, I wasn't affected by that. I had to stay in Dallas to try some excellent Italian food. There's not really any reason for me to go to Italy to get great Italian food if I can get it in the US, right? So that was very nice. Great stuff.
yeah,
Excuse me,
Dallas.
sir. I will remain skeptical.
Well, maybe you have to go to the
Dallas.
US more to try
It's
Italian
true.
food done the right way, and then you'll know.
Well, I also love to go to Texas whenever I can to eat their food, but mostly I'm interested in the meat,
Oh yeah, it
their
was
way of
great.
cooking the meat.
I
Very
don't
very
usually like that
slowly.
stuff, but this was my first time like trying proper barbecue, and wow,
Barbecue, yeah.
that was very impressive. Yeah, they definitely do a good job with that. Really lived up to the reputation. Terry Black was very good.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree like that. I also remember all the meats were good. Like I remember going to random places and the meat was very good still.
Yeah, they're just good at it.
Yeah. But speaking of the magic that went on, did any of your friends that helped that you helped qualify to the Pro Tour?
No, but we also had a group with Jesse Hampton, who already was qualified for everything, so that didn't really matter too much. And Alan Wu and Jake Beardsley. I'm not sure how Jake ended up doing, but Alan, as you can see, is on your
Well,
screen.
yeah, I
He,
see his name here. He
yeah,
made it.
so a
Nice.
former member of Team Handshake, and actually, we were really confident about Alan going in. Like honestly, Alan placing only 17th was a bit of an underperformance from what we'd expected. I think a couple of days before the actual event, Cole said that he thought Alan was going to win the tournament. despite Alan having to like, Alan had not even he wasn't even qualified, and we were saying, yeah, Alan will probably win the tournament. So when he won his LCQ, you know, it was just what was expected. And then when he started like 8 or whatever, it was just Alan being Alan. But yeah, so 17th is a little bit disappointing from Alan, but I'm sure he'll do better next time.
Is he coming to Amsterdam?
Of course. He'll probably
Yeah.
win it too.
I
If he places 17th
yeah,
there, I will also consider that a little bit disappointing, honestly.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you say of course, but I think it's very easy for people who qualify like 3 weeks before a trip to Europe to not come. You know what I mean?
well, but not if you're Alan Wu,
Yeah, I don't know him. So,
though.
The legend.
the I hope the next. Oh, did you see the news that in America they will have two RC, so you can now qualify to you can now win two different RCQ and qualify to two different RCs.
Yeah, I think it's a good change because the US is particularly enormous,
Yeah,
and this event was like
yeah.
it was really cool to see such a massive event again. You know, like we haven't had these since GPs. I really love the vibe of that, and the only like counterpoint to that is that obviously it logistically gets pretty gnarly, right? Like rounds run really long when you have such a massive tournament. There's obviously a bunch of other logistical issues as well. That's just the one that stands out. So having two that will probably be a bit smaller each is going to be, I think, yeah, I think that's an improvement overall, both in terms of accessibility
It
for people on across different sides of the country, and in terms of how smoothly the tournaments can run just because of size. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's more magic. I think I like this change a lot. Because it's still enough invites that it's good. Like it didn't really work for Canada so well because that made it so they had so like top eighting didn't necessarily mean you got an invite. Like whereas splitting 64 is a lot better than splitting 8, which is what Canada had before. So yeah, I think if this works for the United States, I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, I expect at some point to be more involved in the US system than the other systems, and so I'm optimistic about this. So that's nice.
did MTG Melee hold well this tournament for you
Yeah,
for
I didn't notice
Dallas?
any issues. No, it seemed fine to me.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if there
yeah,
was something maybe it's something I didn't know about, but to my knowledge, it was good.
yeah. During the European RC had a lot of problems, but because it was clashing with some other Lorcana GPs.
I
So,
see.
speaking of which, I have a Frank Karsten Twitter page open here, and he was the winner of one of these GPs.
Oh,
So,
nice.
congrats,
You see that a bunch
congrats,
in other
Frank.
games too, right? Like Magic players just kind of stroll over and give him a bit of a whooping, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, nice to
I
see
think it
that
was
tradition upheld.
2,000 people in both in two different GPs that created a lot of problems uh in our RC, but hopefully it's not gonna happen again. But let's talk about this tournament, because here I see a lot of decks that were not very common in the European RC. So the
Hmm.
winner, Adam Weiss, got the job done with a card that was a high picking draft, but I never saw in constructed before. Two-headed Hunter. So this is the 5 mana 5/4 menace, and that's the adventure side of giving a creature double strike. And yeah, I mean, I didn't expect this card to be good in standard, but
I
first
think we
place in
tried this,
the
didn't we, Javier? I
I
remember
mean,
trying this
I'm pretty
card.
sure we tried and said in the podcast that this card could be potentially played in a standard. Literally,
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
pretty sure.
because
Yeah, I remember that.
it's like a different side. Like it's a different team battle age. It's a bit worse as a mana trick, but obviously, like I'm sorry, a combat trick. But having a 5/4 and as an extra card is actually a good effect. So I mean, I like to see this type of card being played in standard. Obviously, in bigger standard, it's less likely, but definitely very good with the slick shot to show off.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
standard is
that's
grindy enough that like the upside of like a bad limited card is like very real. Like
You know,
just playing a 5 mana 5/4 with menace is
Jagantha.
it's a real yeah, it's Giganta. All right, yeah. Oh my gosh, when you put it
ooh.
that way.
So Twin Infernos is another way to give your creature double strike. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's the classic
that's
thing where you see you play like similar effects with slightly different upsides. So with Inferno, it's instead of getting the upside of an extra 5/4, you might get the ability to copy something like Seek the Beast or Witch Talker Frenzy. So yeah, I mean they are similar effects. I do agree that Two-Headed Hunter is a little bit better, especially when if you might draw multiples, then maybe the Two-Headed Hunter is better to draw multiple of. But yeah, I mean it makes sense. They just want that many double strike effects in their deck.
I
I
actually
really
like
like
how
that
the
red green
things
deck
move.
in general. I
Yeah,
think the slick shot show off decks. I remember talking to someone from Sanctum of All at the PT, and they told me that slick shot show off decks were generally a concern for Slugger. That was a deck that we expected to show up, and Teamer, of course, was going to do well. And again, I quite like the red green deck against them, so it makes sense to me that the red aggro deck kind of burst out this RC onto the top. So that was cool. I mean, standard's been it's still moving, you know. Like you said, a lot of these decks you didn't see in Europe, and here they are.
The another deck that I have to click to see what it does is the Garula Ram by Jack Duche,
Mm-hmm.
who's playing the combo. This is actually I've seen this because some of my teammates for the RC tried it,
Yep.
although they were playing the oh wow there is yeah Terror of the
Yeah.
Peaks, Terror of the Peaks Calamity, and that's a combo.
My understanding is that this list
Yeah.
didn't it come from your team, your Worldly Council team? Didn't you try this before the PT?
Uh, no,
Are you sure? Okay, because my
no.
understanding was that was where it
I
came from. Because this list,
so
top 8 of the Australian RC, where it came from someone who I believe got it for someone who was testing on your team before the PT.
Okay, so there was a friend of mine was trying it, but then kind of gave up on it.
Yeah,
Although another Italian player brought it to a PT invite. Uh, I don't know how can I scroll and find it, but yeah, it was Jund, and
I see.
there it is. Yeah, I'll find it now. Again, if you're watching on my screen on YouTube, you'll find it. But yeah, um,
Yeah, so
he
I
got the
guess to
PT invite.
explain, the idea is that you just ramp and then a Smuggler's Surprise is going to kill your opponent with Calamity plus, well, ideally Terror of the Peaks, but a bunch of other cards are good enough to probably kill them as well. Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
I see.
so
So
yeah, this is the one from Alessandro Danesi. He finished 18th. You have Outcast Trailblazer, which also combos well with Calamity. You
hmm,
draw, I think, 4 cards, something like that.
sure.
There's also Voltborn Tyrant that is insane with Calamity, although it's a 7 mana card, so
I
it's
think the
supposed to be
Terror of the
good
Peaks
with.
version is better. Like I think this version from the USRC is a better version because the Terror of the Peaks actually killing your opponent on the spot does matter a lot when there are decks like Teamer that could just combo kill you, like just getting a ton of value, drawing a ton of cards, or doing like not a lethal amount of damage might not be enough. So I really like focusing more on Calamity as a kill with Smuggler's Surprise. Um,
Yeah. I guess the reason, if I remember correctly, the reason why he didn't like the Terror of the Peaks is just that it was a bad card on its own, and he wanted more cards that were good on its own. Like you have
sure,
Vein
some of these cards are
Ripper.
kind of stretching in terms of how
Yeah.
good they are on their own, though. Like
Yeah.
I do think they're a little better
Uh,
than Terra, but I would not be very happy to have most of these in this deck. But yeah, that deck was really interesting. I think like something it does well is like it's hard for the team deck to interact with it, and it can like go through whatever defenses that they do have, which I think is really nice. I don't know. I was kind of surprised. I did not initially think this deck would be very good, but it was definitely much more powerful than I expected, just because of the power of, and to an extent, the flexibility of Smuggler's Surprise. Like when you draw two, you're fine using it to draw cards. You
Yep.
can really like go over the top of some of the mid range decks as well if they don't have counterspells. So yeah, this deck was way better than I thought it would be. I'm not very fond of ramp decks in general, but this one was good.
Yep. 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 And the rest of the top 8 has 3 Boros Convoke,
Mm-hmm.
which is a strong choice. A couple of Azor's Control, and then we have Jesoni, a player who is on fire lately with all the results and even picking up a top 8 here in the RC, in the American RC with their pet deck. I would say the Force Logurk deck.
Yeah, we had no idea what was going on when they posted the tweet with the white splash, and it wasn't very clear the reasons, and they said maybe like maybe it's too late, maybe it's it was a little cryptic, and it was cryptic enough, and we didn't have enough time to delve deeper into this. But I mean, clearly they did believe in it, and clearly it did do well. So yeah,
So
it is very interesting. I
so
was
this
wondering why.
list,
Sorry.
yeah. So this list doesn't play the kill spell anymore. The the black red. What was it
Vial
called?
Smasher.
Yeah, doesn't play Vile Smasher
Sure, I mean
anymore, and
Elasil
it's
Core
playing
is the same card.
Elasil Core.
That's not really the big difference, I think.
Oh, right, because it also whenever you control dies.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Okay,
it's
okay.
basically the
So
same thing. Like maybe this one is a little bit better
the
as a
difference,
standalone card, but I think it's about the other cards that really
yeah,
matter.
Kellan.
Yeah.
I have
So
questions though. Why is
Yeah.
there a Ganji in the sideboard?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, in general, like spell lands are going to be even better when you're Slogok, right? Like
Yeah, but it looks
maybe,
like could be a main. Yeah, I assume that's a fine removal, but like,
but I mean, yeah, like maybe as a land, it's like not very good because of, I mean, your spells. Like, I mean, like a planes in play is just not very good. So it's actually more of a spell in this deck, right? Like you're actually not going to play it very often.
That's true.
So it's just a spell you can recur. Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. Yeah.
And
Okay.
also
After I thought about it a bit, that does seem cool.
Plan the Haste also doesn't like Plan the Haste seems strange for this card to be the actual best attrition card.
Yeah, I guess the
So
idea is that
great.
it's just harder to interact with, right? I don't know if it's the best one, but it seemed popular. Like it's also been seeing a bit of play in Teamer as well.
Yeah, it's Painful Truths 2024.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird one. But yeah, I think the big deal about this is the Kellen, which I don't know if this is the case, but my guess was that Kellen was better defensively as a 2/3, like that blocks a lot better against a bunch of the aggressive decks that presumably Jason anticipated becoming more popular, and it's like still good in grindy matchups. Like maybe Kellen is just a good card and it's actually worth not playing the full numbers of Inti, for example. So yeah, and sometimes it's going to generate a ton of value. Like against Convoke, it's super easy to make 2 maps off the first ability and play like a decent defensive creature. I don't really know. This is just me speculating, but I think it makes sense, and maybe I'm sure that Jason will have posted somewhere their rationale for all of this.
So you ended up your teammates all ended up to play 4-color.
No, just Nate did. Because he was way more confident on Slogok from the very start. Those guys didn't manage to LCQ. They just lost just at the last moment. But
Okay.
Nate was on Slogok pretty early. And Cole ended up losing in the finals with LCQ with Slogok as well, which he recognized it was maybe like he wasn't as familiar with the deck, so it was a little tricky anyway. But he kind of just enjoyed playing it, so he decided to do that instead. And Isaac played Esper because the Storm made him arrive late, so he didn't really have time to learn it, so went back to Esper, which was a comfy deck, but didn't quite get there either.
Yeah.
Good record, but you have to win 5 in a row to LCQ in, so it's a tough call.
Yeah. Esper didn't do well in America.
Sorry?
I'm just saying Esper didn't do well in America. It did very well in Europe with
Yeah,
people
I think that's part of the
top 4.
cycle. Like Esper kind of has to keep adapting, I think. So like there having been a change already meant that it was a little bit harder for Esper to keep up. But I think it's pretty solid. Yeah, you see the Demir mid-range deck there. Both Will and Connor qualified with Demir, which is kind of surprising. That deck had kind of disappeared, but they had this card Vadmir, which, or as I heard them refer to it, Chadmir, who I hadn't really seen much of until now. Like I think we saw a little fringe playing Esper before, but it makes a lot of sense in this blue black deck to me. Like that deck was maybe a little short on 2-drops that apply pressure. And yeah, I think this one does the exact job. Like it's not like an overwhelmingly powerful card or anything, but I think it's maybe the card that was needed for Demir to be respectable. So that was a nice new-ish surprise. I don't know if you could call that a new one, but I knew people didn't really expect it. So yeah, they did very well, and that was cool to see.
In Europe, we had Mogd, who qualified with Dimir, although his list had the Invasion, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. 3 Invasion of Amonkhet.
I mean, I think I like the US version more, but I was like, it makes more sense to me to be more aggressive, but maybe the Invasion is something that I underestimate.
Or alternatively, Mogd can qualify with everything.
Yeah, maybe that might be true as well.
Yeah, I don't think the US version is like very aggressive. Like I see, at least the deck is built in a way where it's clear what it's doing from a surface perspective, at least. But the Badmir card, it's just like a better Sylvan Advocate, right? I understand Sylvan Advocate will not be a great card in 2024, but the same type of card, but it's fine in turn 2, but I can actually take over over the game if it's not the.
I mean, it might be better than that. I mean, you can start getting aggressive pretty quickly with that card. Honestly, like I was kind of surprised by that. Like Sylvan Advocate never attacks for 3 on turn 3 and then 4 on turn 4, right? Like, yeah, this
I mean, this can even
scales quite a
attack.
bit faster.
Yeah, this can even like be very large. I guess against Convoke, you can actually make it a life linker somewhat fast.
Yeah, it's a huge
if
deal.
If that's the case, then you can actually just like, yeah, it's probably better.
It's no Denek, but it's pretty good.
Well, luckily for him, he's not Dank. Yeah.
All right. Well, standard will definitely change the next time I'll be playing it with the rotation, right? We're gonna have a rotation of for the first time in couple of years.
Yeah, actually, I guess. Oh, yeah, I didn't really think about it that way, but that's true. Yeah.
It's about time.
And we're gonna say
goodbye, Graveyard
say
Trespassers.
goodbye
I'll
to-
never see you again.
Good. No, you will say it again. Goodbye, wedding announcement.
Slogurk. Slogurk.
So now it has been done. You guys are happy with how the 3-year standard turned out compared to 2-year standard? How are your feelings about that? I understand.
Yeah, I mean, this standard was
3 years
good.
standard, needs to exist, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of what you prefer.
I was pretty happy with it. Yeah, I mean, the games were good. I don't know how much of it is to do with the 3 years thing specifically. Like, I don't know. It was just a good standard format, and I'm not sure how much of it was to do or not with 3 years. I don't know if it would be better or worse. It's very hard to tell. But the games are great. I don't know. It certainly didn't produce something horrible.
That's true. I mean,
I don't really have a strong opinion.
you don't? Okay. That's good.
I don't mind.
That's probably good then. Like if you don't have a strong opinion, that's probably good for the 3-year standard because the upsides are like, people get to use
that
the
makes
cards more
sense.
time and the such. So.
I like more powerful decks. So yeah,
It's kind of nice. As long as standard
the-
still gets some funny ones, like as long as cards like Two-Headed Hunter can still make it into standard decks, or where like the new Capenna fetch lands can be good. Like I think that's cool, right? Like that's something I enjoy a lot about standard. Like when you have to scrap for some effects, and as long as 3 years is enough to still allow that to happen, which seems to clearly be the case, then yeah, things are
It's
still
close
still
though.
nice.
It's close to not be the case though, but
Yeah, it's close. Yeah, but
dangerously
we'll see.
close.
Like obviously they'll design more with that in mind going forward than they did here. So
would you expect a little bit of a power down situation?
I think so, maybe. Hard to tell, but that's what I would expect. Which I don't mind.
because
I think
like
that's cool.
a bunch of combo decks just randomly happen, like they weren't intended to. Like
Yeah, I love
Convoke
that though,
having
right? Like that is
Epicure.
Well, I think
And,
Convoke must be somewhat intended though, right? Like Convoke specifically,
No, but
it's kind of
Epicure.
no.
Yeah, but if you take away Epicure, the deck is not as good as it is.
no, I guess
Well,
then
yeah,
it's Splash Blue. or
But you could be
something,
you could be
minus.
able white Convoke with Night Errant. Like they must know Night Errant was a big deal, which is why they don't
Whereas,
have
like-
yeah.
Yeah, whereas for example, like the Teemo deck is like genuinely there's no
Yeah,
way they could have
exactly.
seen, like
Yeah.
seen that coming.
Teamer. What's the card that's gonna rotate out? Nisa?
The lands.
Oh, the Capenna lands. Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Timur definitely was not expected, but I think Convoke specifically or Toxic or whatever those decks. I mean, they have it like it's you can convert the Night Errant to the Luxodon whatever. And it's fairly,
Also, I read somewhere that after Math Analyst was only returning 3 lands at the beginning,
Oh.
and then they switched to all of them, but they made it tapped. So that was I always enjoy listening to the changes the card takes in the.
Yeah, a lot of them are really interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess
They
we're
are
not really
indeed,
going to
yeah.
get into that, but it is interesting to know what like tiny little things they do.
Oh, also-
over in Seattle
also
end up changing so much.
Deluge is a card. Like if you take away Deluge, this deck never win. Like not never wins, but Deluge is so important for the self-mill
Some
strategy.
people would disagree, but yes.
I feel like Deluge is like silently like one of the most important cards in the standard and has been for a while. Like it's the best draw spell has been printed
Control as
in
well.
years, and also it's one draw spell that gets through all the drawing cards disruption like Fairy Mastermind. And I'm pretty sure like Deluge is definitely like once Deluge gets out, it's gonna be like I don't know. I think it's gonna be one of the most important. It rotates out this time, right?
Yeah.
I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be one of the biggest changers.
Also Emperor. Like, wow, blue eye control loses Emperor, loses March.
I just dies. Like, well, it would be a different deck if it.
I mean, it will change. It will change.
Well, but it would be a
but you
different
still
deck.
have
It could be same colors, but
Yeah.
if you take Delusion, like this deck is basically Emperor Delusion fillers, right? Like it just will be a different
still
deck.
have 3 steps ahead. 3 steps ahead made this deck definitely much better and normalized. So these
Yes,
cards
but
remain.
they're not. I don't think it's as important as Delusion Emperor because the deck did exist before, right? And
And the,
yeah,
Well, like those are good.
we'll see.
Yeah, the thing is like how unique they are, right? Like the Emperor is a very unique effect, whereas like cards like 3 steps ahead are very good, but they mostly just do things that the deck is already able to do. They're like they're more generic blue effects, whereas I think like Deluge is like the only card drawing spell you need to draw in any given game, which is pretty different to how a lot of control decks have worked historically. Or like the Emperor allows your deck to like apply a lot more pressure than control decks have. So like those actually change how the deck works, if you get what I mean, Mango. Like the other cards are good, but they're not defining in the same way. Those cards are like both the best and the most defining, which is why you could say the deck changes. Yeah.
I actually think the
Yeah.
Deluge is not like, even though it was good and not too powerful, it was not a great design in terms of like so many games have the same pattern where if you draw the Deluge, you only have to play for the Deluge and that's it, and the game's
Yeah.
eventually going to be over. I don't think that's very fun in terms of like, it's not very dynamic, you know, like it just
Yeah.
moves the games every time in the same. So I will hope, and I actually expect them to not print anything similar in all this like some years, because this effect has been around for long enough that it just settled the pattern of these games. And I wonder. I mean, I think reactive decks have to be there, but I think they will be differently because I think there will not be any card like that. Or at least I
Yeah,
have not
makes
seen
sense.
any. I don't think anything that's legal is close to fill the gap Village will leave.
Yeah, flashback is kind of a dangerous mechanic, I guess, in terms of how it can make these games repetitive. It's kind of interesting.
yeah, so another deck that will disappear / change entirely is the 4-color Legends, because it will lose the card Relic of Legends.
Yeah,
It will
I
also
guess that's
a
giant
lose
difference.
the Slogurk and all the Capenna, Neon Dynasty lands, which are a big
Sure.
part of these Legends decks. So
Are those the triumphs?
yeah, you still
Are the triumphs out?
yes.
Wow,
Also the Triumphs are out.
That will probably GG this
Yeah.
deck, right? Like I think mana bases are
Yeah,
often the
it's-
most important swings.
Yeah, yeah. You still have the Inti plus Rona, which is a powerful engine, and you still have the combo Ratstein, Bile Smasher, Rona, Inti. But without Otawara and Takenuma, it's definitely less consistent.
Plaza rotates
and
as
of
well,
course,
right?
Yeah, Plaza. That's true.
So
Yeah,
basically,
okay.
basically all the lands and most cards in the deck except Run and Inti rotate. I think this deck is gonna be completely GG.
Good,
All right,
good old
let's
Golgari midrange will be around. There'll be random black and green cards that are good. That's a thing.
Yeah,
None of them matter, so any of them
there's-
can rotate, and it's good.
Yeah, exactly. Guardian Midrange is gonna be there for us.
There's Mosswood Right. That's all you need. Mosswood
Yeah.
Red
Yeah,
Knight.
everything
and I guess
else
Caustic
is
Bronco.
who cares.
I mean,
Just
as
play
long
random
as
creatures.
Draenei is legal, that's probably going to be at least a tier 2 Golgari deck in standard. That's my
Yeah.
claim. I think the card is good enough for that. Like, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Did you guys see True Hero list of Golgari? He came 14th in Europe, and he was playing 4 copies of the Blossoming Turquoise.
And Topper Stomper.
Turquoise.
Gosh.
And-
Oh, this is like a
and
big
Topper Stomper
Golgari, huh?
This is
with Gidrog.
and Beastie Billy.
Billy. Yeah.
All right. I mean,
Little Billy.
this deck is actually interesting. Like, it's how do you call, like, it follows a line. Like, I can see, like, this is a very cursive deck. I like cursive decks. Like, this is not following the structure of the other Golgari, right?
Through Mishra's Foundry.
Like, it's
so
not
very much.
Yeah, it's not playing the Gisa. It's just going like for the full land. It's like Topair Stomper Stompy, actually, in a way. I mean, this is probably a very good use for Topair Stomper, to be fair.
Yeah, Stomper into Gitrock. That
Yeah.
seems sick.
Yeah, and I
True.
don't remember the Gitrog text, but I'm pretty sure it plays with lands.
It's
because
very,
that's what-
very good, yes.
that's what the
Wow.
Gitrog
I haven't
does.
actually seen that synergy used before.
You
That's
draw X
interesting.
cards and you put X lands from your hand into the battlefield, equal
Yeah,
to
so
the
draw
creature
4,
you sacrifice.
put-
Yeah, that's sacrifice a
Yeah.
Dread Knight and just go out. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I could see
My-
this deck
my-
being fine.
My problem with this deck is that I was testing a lot with Marco, and I was always playing the Teamer lands, and I was always beating him, definitely. Like,
Oh, yeah, of course.
I don't
Well,
think
of course, yeah.
I've lost a match. But so I felt like I didn't want to play his deck. But when I was losing faith in Teamer lands a little bit, You know, I was kind of like, okay. Then I like lost my tournament, and he kept on winning, and I was like, oh, I should have played his deck, you know,
I mean,
which I
Maybe,
always say to
maybe.
I
every
think this deck
tournament.
It's
looks
always good
good.
to have
Like,
second doubts.
yeah, also it has a Liana main deck, which is probably gonna steal some games against Timur anyway, because it's one of the best cards in the deck. Like, I don't know, this deck looks good. Like, I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
it can
yeah, yeah,
kill
no.
players out of nowhere, and this is the classic deck, in my opinion, that actually gets a very good use on the cyber slots. Like all the cyber cards. I mean, you look at the cyber, they're all like actual hate cards. Like nothing here. Like whenever you draw any of these cards in a matchup, you cyber it in. I guess the rest of the session, but anything else is like, wow. You know when you draw a cyber card, and it's like massive.
Yeah,
You know?
he wasn't even sideboarding duress against Teamer at the end.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can see
Duress
that.
is not that good
Because-
against Team. Like,
Yeah, I can
that's
I can
something
see
that's
that.
worth noting.
Yeah, but any other card like Path of Peril, Hearse, like all these cards are very good cyber cards. So I think that's also an appeal for this kind of deck.
Well, it is an appeal to this kind of deck, but it's also like a required constraint, right? Because you have to build your sideboards like this when you play decks like Ramp or any other deck that has, I think, like pretty tight linear cores. You have to play Hammers because it's harder to adjust like your interaction as meaningfully. I think. Yeah, and you don't tend to have like weak threats. I think because they all contribute to each other. So I think the sideboard do well for this. Like it makes sense to me.
Also, Bristol Bill must kill people fast in this deck, like actual fast
Yeah.
with the turtles and the stompers and the stuff. Like,
Yeah, you
right?
might be
I mean,
attacking for 4 on turn 3. That's pretty nice.
yeah, like you turn 2 Bill, turn 3 stomper, attack for 4, turn 5 tortoise, attack for a bunch, turn 7 just bump and kill you. Like turn 5, sorry. Right, that's true. Right? If
Yeah,
you Bill,
this card didn't see as much play as I thought it might. So
like if you go Bill, stomper, tortoise, you kill in turn 5, which is, I mean, obviously not great, but like it's
it's pretty good for
something.
standard. And
Yeah,
for
it's
not
great.
having many cards. Yeah.
Against Timur, it's gonna be fine often, right? Like, so I don't know. This deck looks like a Bill could be a 3-off. I don't know. Like, just Bill into Stomper, attack for 4, and set up like a 5-mana kill you 2 turns later seems good enough to me. I don't know. I'm just saying, look at the deck list. This card could be maybe a 3-off going forward. Maybe instead of the Trespasser or something.
Yeah. I mean, what cards rotate out from this deck? So you have Liliana. Oh, you have Stomper as well that rotates out. But the Turtois, the Restless Cottage, and the Mishra Foundry remain. So
Well,
Yeah,
it
it's
isn't
kinda-
clear. It doesn't clear that the Tortoise is going to be good enough, but maybe. Like, Turtle is a powerful leash card. I mean, we played it last year in Wolves, but it's also a little bit underwhelming. Like, I think Tortoise needs the metagame to be very based on interaction spells. Like, Tortoise,
Yeah.
ironically, it's only good if it dies, right? Because if it doesn't die,
Mhm.
any Shieldred type of card is. The Shieldred
Would be better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every 4.
yeah, Shoulder rotates, yes.
Yeah, but even if
Shoulder
Shieldred's out, like any 4-drop that's playable in standard, it's gonna be any Kalitas type of card. You know, there's always some. Like they're all gonna be better. This one is only better if it dies. So it requires a very specific thing. If that's the case, then good. You know, like then Tortoise is definitely gonna be a good addition. But,
Yeah, like the specific thing that it's so good against is sweepers, right? Like if sweepers are central to the metagame, then Tortoise is really appealing. Like we played so many because of Sunfall before, and maybe if like ill-timed explosion and I guess Sunfall are central to the next format, then maybe the Tortoise will be good. But yeah, I think it's definitely more of a metagame dependent card. Like it's like you said, the value is based on that and not as a card in its own right. It's kind of it's slow, which
also Foundry
makes sense.
rotates. Does Foundry rotate? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No.
No?
Brothers
Then
work.
it's good
Oh, huh.
because it goes very well with like it is incredibly strong with Foundry, obviously. And,
Of course,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
turn 3
All right.
Tortoise, it's
How-
Foundry is-
How about we change topic? We move from standard to Pioneer because both me and Javier are RCQ competitors these days.
You
yeah,
are?
we are
What?
apparently.
Nice.
Yeah, so Javier, you played an RCQ last weekend,
did.
and the deck you played was once again Phoenix. Do you want to let us know a little bit how you updated your list since the PT?
Well, I tried to adapt a little bit the deck to the metagame here in Madrid. I did cut the Ashox main deck. I don't think there's enough for her, and get the second Pierce. I think Pierce is actually good, but not as good as it could be in open air list. And I tried the how they call it, the Proft 2-mana card.
Elof.
Yeah. So I tried this card for the other time, and I thought it was very bad, like unplayably bad. Now I don't think it's that bad because while like obviously the effect can be powerful, but it's also not very needed. And it presumably fights with the combo slots, right? Because you only have so many like cards that cannot be part of the engine or part of the kill. But one thing I was kind of underrating when I tried a bit more was that this card's actually pretty good to combine with a combo, right? Like if you ever go Galvanic into Cruise with this card in the battlefield, well, it's gonna be very good, and it helped in some situations against like specifically Lotus, Quintorius, all these decks where you need to be fast. This card was actually pretty good, and it was bad against decks that were trying to kill your creatures like vampires and waste not or whatever. But honestly, it was not as bad as Ashok. Like it was bad, but it was not as bad because you could actually turn some of the stinky 1/3s into actual threats, and that was very common. So I ended trying one copy, and I think going forward, like I am not confident. My first impression still holds that the card's not good in the deck because it doesn't function synergistically with the rest. But I think there might be a world where this correct to play one going forward because of that. Like it also makes you a little bit better against decks like Blue White Poseidon with Rest in Peace and the such. Like it offers some flexibility in terms of the angle. And as we have talked before here, the fact that Phoenix is like a multi-angle deck is very important. Like it has to be able to play control, aggro, and combo. And this one, it's pretty bad on the control side, but it was better than what I thought it would be initially in the combo aspect. So I will probably play with I don't think I will play any more CQs maybe after Amsterdam, but if I do, I might explore a little bit better just for fun and see what do I think about it. But so far, I would be kind to think one copy might be fine enough, and yeah, I will recommend trying one and see. Just low confidence on it being correct, but definitely like it's good enough that I think even if it's incorrect to play, it's not like an atrocious mistake or anything. I think it's still fine to have it in your deck. At least one copy. One fun thing though is the maximum hand size. The more I play with the card, like it's actually a big drawback. Like I lost a game because of you have no maximum hand size. Like this has ever been a downside. Like I assume this card has that text to be better, but funny enough, it's worse, and it's not that rare because when you go draw 9, you always want to discard the Phoenixes, right? Like I think the difference between being played in the deck or not could be actually that small line of you have no maximum size. That's a bit of annoying. Like it's annoying because it's clearly not there to make the card worse. Like they put that to make the card better, but it's actually making the card worse, which is unfortunate.
It's fun. I enjoy that. But yeah, I also don't like the card very much, but I think an easy way to put it is I only expect this card to be good if it's a game where I would expect casting Picklock Prankster to be something that I'm going to do, which, yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty easy way to frame whether the card is going to be good in a matchup or not, right? Like, it makes sense when you're trying to kill all your creatures, you end up just having to do that. So this makes some real cards, or if the game is going to go very long. So, yeah, maybe that helps in terms of identifying whether you want to play this card or not, based on whether that seems to be something you're going to do a lot against the field.
There's one more thing There's one more thing I did, and I did cut the Pyromancers because there was no control, and also I like the Pyromancers anyway. And I literally there were no control decks, and I played some Fables, not only because I think they're good, but because like I have never played Fable in Phoenix, so I wanted to give it a try and see how the card felt, and it did feel good, like a bit better than I thought it could be. So maybe going forward, I will consider having some Fables in Phoenix. I'm not sure how to craft a plan because ideally Fables you want to play 4, right? But you want to play also with Drakes and you want to play Borrowers, so it's not very stupid everything. But I was a little bit surprised. Like I expected the Fable to be decent because it's kind of synergic with the deck, but even though like it was a bit better than I thought it would be, just like because especially Poseidon against disruption decks like Thought's decks or whatever. You often struggle a bit, like they target your pranksters with the Thought's and such, and yeah, it was good. I was impressed by the card, so I'm going forward also will probably try to play a bit more Fables, as long as control is not very popular. Like I understand Fable is also good against control, but not as good as Pyromancer. So that's something I will also like to note.
Reasonable.
All right. I will also have an RCQ this weekend. It'll be my first one in Pioneer. Last time I played Pioneer was with the Vampires, although unfortunately I don't own the Vampires deck. I really should have bought it. because I find myself having to play with Waste Not this Sunday, which I thought was a fine deck. I played a couple of leagues. It was less good than I thought. And last time I remember Javier telling me that it was not very good, and I guess I should have bought the cards for another deck. But
Why
here
do
I
you keep
am.
doing this, man? Why do you keep playing tournaments with mono black decks with huge holes that we tell you not to play, and then you play them and you're like, I didn't do that well. That was weird.
Sorry.
Well, so in my defense, I haven't played Pioneer, so I thought this was fine, and yeah, that's it. That's all my
That's all the
defense.
defense you have for Anthony.
Okay, but man, next time you play a mono black deck that can't interact with something, or that falls apart with a lot of certain draws, or just plays 800 copies of Field of Ruin, and then we tell you don't play that deck, I'm gonna suggest you don't play that deck. Okay?
No,
Just
that's
do me
not how
that.
it works, Anthony. He will play. He has to play all the swamps.
And
So on.
I'm so ready to play. So I have a deck ready to play as soon as modern MH3 comes up, the access event, the early access event. I got my mono black deck without coffers ready.
Nice.
Why are the perfect tutors back? We went over this.
Enough Field of Ruins.
So
You
there's
added more
there's toxic.
cards that needed to have swamps in play, and then you also put more. What are you
Mango,
doing?
Yeah.
I love this deck. Don't listen to him. This is beauty.
Please put more
Also,
swamps in your swamp deck.
I removed the Herborgs.
Just so you know,
even have the
Mango,
consuming.
if you go to your local game store, they can usually give you any number of basic lands for free. Okay?
All these swamps.
Yeah, swamps. Well, yeah, I guess they do have to be swamps. That is a limitation.
I feel like I feel like you need to play the Field of Ruins if you want to be competitive with mono black.
Against
You
what?
must. I mean, there's two decks.
Ursa Saga decks, right? For example.
Nah, the Tron and the Amulet. Like Tron and Amulet are for sure.
I don't think Field is
like,
going to
if
win
you
you many
cut
games
these-
against Amulet, but yeah, it's like, but you make your deck
I
worse
guess-
against every deck that's not Tron in all it, you know. Oof.
No, I think at this point, Mono Black has had enough results to say that the Field of Ruins are important. It remains to be seen if the deck is good or not, but I like to play the Mono Black control deck.
Remains to be seen. Well,
Although
the what?
I need to see, I don't know, maybe next time I'll play Pioneer, I'll buy the Soaring and Brave Reaper and play that deck instead.
You can also play non-black decks. You know, like there's
That's allowed.
Yeah, there's a deck that plays like islands and red cards and Arcade Phoenix that you might
Yeah,
like.
you could just play
You
Phoenix.
know, it's also the best deck, and you're good at playing those decks. You could also play this deck, Mango.
No, unfortunately, that goes against the one thing I believe in Magic,
Swamps?
which is if I do bad once with a deck, that deck is gone.
But
for
you
me.
keep doing bad with mono black decks. That doesn't.
Yeah,
That doesn't make sense. Mango.
Wait, no, what's I've never played Mono Black.
But you play mono black every time.
No, I just for fun in the leagues.
you-
I never played Mono Black in a tournament.
No, you played. You were one to play Modern PTQ, whatever, and you played mono black, and you went down, and then you played it again, didn't you? The coffers.
Yeah, but no, I won one RCQ with coffers in paper. I lost one time on the Magical Line. The Magical Line doesn't count.
Didn't you go to a qualifier, those semi GPs or whatever? Didn't you go to with coffers to one and you didn't win anything? Also, we have 4 seasons, maybe.
No.
No?
No.
Really?
Alright.
I thought it. Okay, well, we
I don't
stand
know.
corrected.
You also have never played Phoenix in Pioneer, right? So it also doesn't
That's
apply.
true.
It's true. I played it in Historic.
Sure, but it's not the same deck.
That's
Like,
that's very different. Your
I
opponents
know.
are very different for a start. Like,
I was playing Fateless Looting.
yeah, I mean, there's no failures loading in Pioneer. I'm just saying, like, you can play Phoenix.
Is Fateless Looting still legal in Historic?
I probably. Yeah, I think
Who
it
knows?
is.
Cool.
I think it is, but who knows? Yeah, but I think it
Doesn't
is.
matter.
By the way,
Yeah, no, I think it is. I think it
I-
is.
I heard you mention 4 seasons, and do you know that Javier, and Pivo will go to the Spanish 4 seasons, the Impact Returns.
yeah, he
We'll be
mentioned it.
playing-
Yeah,
We'll be playing one of the best team tournament ever with the 3 best formats: Legacy, Modern, and drumroll, pre-modern.
okay, Boomer.
Okay, Boomer. No, I mean, the food is gonna be great there. You know, it's gonna be different style than the
Yeah.
4 seasons, but I can tell you it's gonna be very good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
so good. Mango's like, listen, look at these awesome formats, and how he's like, yeah, but the food's gonna be great.
Well, I mean, it's also, I'm not the biggest fan
Oh,
of
the shade.
pre-modern, but I think the gameplay is like medium. I think the old cars are cool, but I'm not a big fan of the pre-modern format. Unfortunately, I think
gameplay-
sometimes it's good, but
the gameplay's whatever. All it matters is just collecting the cards.
well,
And
that's
Promodern
exactly
is the best.
that's
Well, okay, as long as we're face up about what
yeah,
we're
exactly.
doing.
I can agree. I like I see these decks and they are like aesthetically super pleasing to me. I love them.
Yeah, like
But
it's beautiful.
that's one thing. I actually have one deck. Like I have my pre-modern deck or whatever. But like the gameplay is just so
what is it?
Alluren.
What is it?
Alluren.
Ooh.
I also could have
Alluren.
like the rock as well. Like I just don't like the gameplay much. Like I think the ban list is awfully curated. That's my take on the format. I would love to play it if my ban list was like good, but since it's not, I'm just waiting until maybe they fix it one day.
All right. It's fine. I'm just happy to blow up some lands
Yeah.
and look at my beautiful cards while I do that. That's my
Yeah, I just think it's not,
my
which probably
stance.
makes Anthony happy, but yeah, I don't think
It
it's
does?
fine. It does. It's definitely and certainly not fine from my perspective.
So do you want to play modern or legacy in that team?
We'll see.
We'll see. Okay.
You should do something like what we
And-
did. There should be some kind of punishment. Like if you do the worst, something horrible happen. Are you guys gonna stay in an Airbnb or something by any chance?
Anthony, we do not use ourselves to weaponize them against friends. That's only something you do.
Oh, but it was a lot of fun. Like we had Trash Boy take out all the trash.
No.
This weekend it was nice. Then no one else had to.
I don't like that. I don't like those behaviors. I think
Wow.
we Latins, we help each other when we are going down.
Well,
Not really, but okay. I'm happy that me and you do.
I mean, I've been walking around the city. A lot of people just leave their trash out on the doorstep. So, if you made more people with losing records at tournaments take out the trash, this whole place would be a lot cleaner. I'm telling you that.
What if everyone
I mean-
takes their own trash and we live in a better world? You don't have to be a loser for doing that.
Ugh.
Putting the trash on the doorstep is actually very much what's the word?
Civilized?
I don't know.
Civilized.
Yeah, seems civilized. Sometimes trash is in the middle of the streets and stuff like that. That's,
Well, it doesn't really stay there. That's
that's
the
a-
problem.
yeah.
All right,
So,
Mango. I
as
have a
you-
position for you. If you do bad with this tournament, can you please not play a mono black deck next time? Is that like something you can do for us in your next RCQ?
So
We want you to win.
for Amsterdam, I have planned to buy every card legal and modern. Will not lend anything because I want to be ready on Sunday to play PTQ whatever I want.
That's the winner's attitude,
That's-
isn't it? You're already
Yeah,
getting ready
that's
to
my
play
goal.
PDQ.
All right, that's how
just-
that's how he wins every PTQ though. So you cannot argue with the
Yeah.
results. It's been working for him.
I will-
That's true. So
Us-
So
Yeah.
out of the two of you, one of you, tries to make his Sunday free if possible so that he can play the top 8, and the other one is planning to play the PDQ. And not to put too fine a point on it, but
I don't
think
know. I
about
think
that.
PTQs
My-
are fun.
My Murktide
You never play
Regent
any?
is ready for the main event.
Never? What did you say, Mango?
Who?
Sorry?
You said you never played the Murder Region in the main event? No.
No, I said my Murktide Regent is ready to be played in the main event, so I know what to play on Sunday.
All right,
Have more
Do you
time.
think there will be a Murder Region in the top 8, Mango? Any copies
Yeah,
of
it
the
will be
card?
me. I'll be playing Murktide.
The PT or the PTQ?
so he
I'm
said
just-
he's saying he's going to play Marktide in the PT so that he can find out what to play in the PDQ.
Well, but he can maybe
Yeah.
top 8 the PT with
That was the
Mortide, you
joke.
know?
That was the joke. I don't know, maybe. I like Tamio. I like Tamio a lot. I'm ready to play Murktide tomorrow. The two decks I want to play is Mono Black and Murktide, which are my two pet deck in Modern. I have 1 mana 0/3 attack make clue. That's my stance for card that I can't wait to cast.
Is there a particular
And,
reason you like Tamio a lot, Mango? Anything in particular?
The art is good. It's all right.
It's just it's free value. Attack, gain a clue. I love that.
Oh, is that all? So you're playing? What does it have any particular advantages over Ragavan?
It's new.
Yeah, so the thing is that Ragavan needs to, live to do its thing. And sometimes when you're playing as Orcish Bowmaster or some other situations, it doesn't get through. You're on the draw, stuff like that. Whereas Tamio, she just attacks and gains these things, and then later you flip it. The ultimate just wins the game, which just creates this game where you don't need to play anything, you just pass, and then eventually you -7. And so that's why I'm excited about Tamio, and I'm excited about MH3. There's a lot of cards I can't wait to stream. In fact, next week's, because I'm gonna be going from home for 2 weeks, I need to do a lot of content, So I'll be streaming in the afternoon as well. I'll try at least try to stream more, to make more videos, and I look forward to it a lot.
Why don't you just stream your PT testing? Wouldn't that be just more convenient?
Nah, PT testing is holiday. No work.
Oh, sad.
Yeah, that's why I keep on winning those PTQs, because I want to get that like 2 weeks of holiday in the PT testing house with the swimming pool. Yeah, that's the best
I
time.
mean, swimming pool in this one sounds decent, actually.
Yeah, I can't wait.
We
I
have
can't
a
wait.
pool.
We'll be like 22 people, so it's just like a party.
It's like a big party all day, right? I mean, that's actually
exactly.
awesome,
Wow, only 22 people. That's like half the size you were before, right?
22 people, because there's 4 people not qualified to the PT.
I'm just
who will,
Mango. I just
who will
have an
come
idea. Like
for
22
the
is just
GP.
a football match. You can go 11 versus 11.
Yeah, speaking of football match, there's the Europeans, the tournament going on. There would be like Italy versus Spain, the 20. So there would be Italian people and Spanish people. So it's gonna be
So
exciting.
who do you think will
I can't
win?
wait.
Spanish Magic players or Italian Magic players at football, like GP level plus? Do you think any team will be better?
I don't know. I'm thinking about all the Italian players, and they don't seem very fit. Whereas
Okay.
I think of a lot of Spanish players, and they're very fit.
All right,
Yeah.
let's see.
So
Okay.
I would say it's Spanish.
Not even Mango roots for Italy. That's
Don't we
that's
get?
the
I
answer.
think we. Does this podcast? Did we get quite a few listeners from Italy, Mango? I don't know if I would have said that.
Too late. It's been said already. It's recorded.
Oh well. Okay.
It's
Oh, but you said that played a PT, right?
I said GP level plus. Yeah, like PT. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
GP level
like
plus,
PT,
yeah.
like PT.
Yeah,
Like PT.
yeah,
PT.
I was thinking the PT.
Yeah,
players,
PT qualified players. Yeah. PT players. That's actually
Okay,
what I was
they're
thinking.
probably not listening, so that's fine then. Okay, you're all good, Mango. You're fine.
Yeah, Italian PT players don't listen to the Karnies.
Tragic.
They only listen to their hearts.
Okay, what do you think about the invert polarity? That now it's on screen because I dislike this card. Do you think it's
Yeah,
I
so
don't like
it's funny. Canister made his
classic?
Canister made his what? I've read Canister on Twitter, it doesn't show up. Alright, there it is. Canister made his tier list, which is something that content creator like to do, and he put invert polarity as literally last. And I was surprised because the rest of the list, made a lot of sense. And I genuinely thought that he thought that the card was bad. So I commented, I look forward to counter your the one ring with invert polarity. And, played a little bit of cockatrice. I don't know. And I win the die roll every time. I always chose even. So, moving forward, I'll always choose even with invert polarity. And I gained control of 4 different spells for 3 mana, and it was great. Control Teferi, the Speed Look Play Commandeer to do that, and this costs only 3, so I'm very excited to try it.
Yeah.
No, it's not a matter of the card being good or not. That's not what I meant.
My counterplay to this
what did
card
you
is
mean?
that when my opponent casts it, I'm going to call a judge and claim my opponent is trying to improperly determine a winner. So that's my plan so far.
If you win the
Or maybe a judge would just happen to be standing nearby and do something about it,
Maybe the judge flips the coin, winking, making sure you lose.
Who knows?
Yeah, there was that whole thing on Twitter going on.
Mango, if you explain the joke, it kills the joke.
I didn't read it because you have to click on a different thing to read it. That's too much effort, so I didn't do it.
That's
But
a
I'm
very
sure-
Mango thing to do.
I'm sure it was a cool story to read. I just, too much effort. Unfortunately, I can't do it.
Wow. Okay. No, I wanted to rant a bit because I don't like cards with coins being this good. Like, I think this is probably the best card ever printed with
I don't
flip
know.
coin.
I don't think it's as bad as that. Like, is it really that different to Collected Company or whatever?
Well, Collective Company is a card already I don't like, so this is even worse.
Yeah, but like, I think there's a smaller difference. Like, maybe for you and I who already hate Collected Company's existence,
Yes.
that's fine. But I think the difference is not. It's much smaller than people say. I think. Like, I don't think this is like breaking new ground or anything. It's not like, wow, this is the first time they're going to make a card like this, and it might, ruin my tournament experience. I just think it's not that different to those cards. Like, it's like a high variance card is a high variance card. It doesn't matter if it like literally uses a cultural symbol of randomness to implement that, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't love it, but it's not as offensive to me as a lot of the reaction I've seen this card get.
I mean, like, you cannot
Yeah.
do it. Like, the thing with company is that you can actually wait. Like, you can just build your deck in a way where you make it better or worse. So you have like to weigh the benefits and the costs. But this is straight a coin. Like, this is commonly going to be like, I just flip a coin. I don't know. It just like adds another layer of variance to the game, and the reward is like not particularly fun because you cast this card and the game is effectively often going to be over on the spot, which means like there's no game going forward in terms of decisions if you flip the coin up and you win the flip. I don't know. I just don't like the feeling. Like, it's just getting like the bad part of Hearthstone. Just throw it into Magic. Like, why would you do that?
Like, I feel like Merc type player definitely needed a card like this because like all the big brain Merc type players, you know, they never, it's always in your hand the game, right? But then now all of a sudden we have a card that you just cast and you just finally release the control over your game, and it's all about luck. I like it.
I don't know. The argument you said sound to me like argument against the card, but maybe it's in favor of the
Yeah, like
card.
presumably they like being like the way they are, like playing a more cerebral approach. And if they have to play a card like this, they might fly in the face of how much they enjoy the deck, right? Like, you have to assume people like playing
Okay.
Merc type because of certain patterns and not because of the aesthetics.
Oh, that's true.
Another very, very funny card is Harbinger of the Sea. Because then you cast it, your opponent doesn't play Magic anymore. It's
It's funny.
Well,
it's
yeah.
it's another type of card that, especially if you want to have the same feeling, you can play pre-modern. There's a lot of those feelings over there.
Yeah.
You know,
All the time.
making your opponent not play Magic,
All the
but after the game isn't over.
Tangle Wire, Ecstasis, Winter Orb, all the glorious weapons from the
Stone
glorious days.
Rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, I still feel it's not like this. I mean, this one is obviously just a copy of something else that already exists in modern, right? Like, I don't know. Like this has just always been part of mod, like since like literally the entire existence of the format. So I mean, maybe personally I don't love that sort of thing, but I can also see it being necessary as a metagame check. And I don't know. I feel like this is good for people. Like, if you already liked mod, then like them making more stuff that's kind of like stuff that already exists is good, right? Like, presumably they like that. I don't know if that tracks.
Yep.
But like, yeah, that's my logic. If you already liked playing the format that had Magus of the Moon, like Harbinger of the Seas can't be very offensive, surely. And it has some interesting.
No, I mean, I was just keep on joking about the inverse polarity being unfun.
Yeah, I don't know. I
understand.
just think it might not be. I
It's
think
my
I have
least
very high
favorite card.
forgiveness for these cards.
Okay, I'm gonna remain the hater here. I hope the card's not good enough for modern playable. That's
Yeah, well, that's you, Javier. You're always a hater.
Am I? Wow.
Yep.
That's so hateful.
Wait, how do you resolve this? How do you resolve this in paper? Do you roll and you make your opponent choose odd or even?
Or
Sure,
choose
you can
some
do anything
other-
that's 50-50.
Yeah, anything works, right? Just they
Yeah.
choose out or even you roll. That's fine. Sounds the fastest one.
When I was playing the pre-modern event, my opponent had the rock paper season unglued cards. I love it.
Yeah.
That's so good.
But it takes more time though, right? That's kind of
Yeah,
like,
that's
Nah,
maybe that
who
takes more time than I'd be
cares?
happy with.
yeah.
Who cares? It's fun. I like to see it. I was very happy to see it. Maybe I should buy it. Are those expensive? Maybe.
Are they? I have them. I have them actually. I have to say.
You have them?
I do have them.
Do you sell them to me?
No,
Oh,
I will. Well, I actually had this
No.
conversation today. Like, I might give them to you, but I will never sell them to you. You know, like if you,
Intriguing.
I have 2 copies. If you tell me you're gonna use them in pre-modern, I will give you one of the two.
But you have 2 copies? You mean you have two sets?
I have 2 sets because it was meant to play with a
okay.
friend. So we have 1 set each, and we play with each other, right? So that's why I have 2 sets. But if you're gonna use them,
Yeah, I mean,
I might give you one,
yeah.
but I will never sell them to you. Like that's not in my culture, you
No.
know. Like
It's fine. Yeah, no. That's cool. The rock paper scissors unglued cards. Anyway, I think we have spoke long enough about random things. It's probably time to close it. As always, if you arrive to here, you probably will know that Anthony Javier do not want to talk about modern because of their how do you say it for the you say it better. I never know how to say
Oh,
it.
we have obligations to our teammates. To
Obligations.
not
Yeah,
talk about
that's
modern,
that's the word I was missing. Yeah, you have obligations with your team. So whereas a content creator, so over here sharing all my ideas. I also have, you can see here, affinity budget. That's gonna be something something important as a content creator.
What's Golgari mid-range?
Can't put Golgari mid-range. So recently I had this idea of Golgari mid-range, and I got an MTGO trophy with it, so I got a little bit hyped.
Okay.
And it was playing Pillage the Bog as like extra rings, because 4 rings isn't enough. You really need to draw it. And I'm adding to the deck Fanatic of Ronas as a way to get mana for the ring, but mostly for the Shifting Woodland, which is this land that just copies Ring or Shieldred, and you just copy with Fanatic of Ronas. I also today on Cockatrice played a turn 2 the One Ring, so that was something that you can do with this deck.
Right.
Land halfling, tower the One Ring. So that was so yeah. This is one of the decks that I want to try. A card I'm very high on is Toxic Deluge. I think it's very powerful, and Modern didn't have a 3-mana sweeper effect like that. Yeah, that's also there's of course the Nadu Shuko combo. This is a extremely powerful combo that probably be one of the best card in the set, Nadu. So
interesting.
It's something that
the
I want to
flares
try.
Well. Oh, I see. And
Yeah,
your 2-drop stack to either side. That's cool.
Yeah, this is another deck idea I have. But yeah, so this is just my 5 decks. I'm sure there will be a ton of decks to try in the next days with all the Magic Online events. And yeah, it's gonna be it. Again, if you arrive to here, also you might want to check out the top 5 video I made on my YouTube channel where I talk about these decks a little bit. But yeah, that's about it. If you wanna support the podcast and join the Discord where we talk about every format, of course, is patreon.com/Karnies. And if you want to follow us, we are all on Twitter. Anthony even posts something here and there these days, so you might want to follow him at MTG Bandcard. That's it, guys. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you again.
Cheers.